Clearly, these Maimonim are in sequence. So what we have learned in the previous Maimon, the principle that there is the two worlds, Nefesh Elekis and Nefesh HaBahamis, and only the Nefesh HaBahamis is entrenched in its ways, in its orientation. And the only way to move it is through a milchama, in the form of a battle. This battle is waged using battle gear. Battle gear means particular guns and so forth. In other words, which cannot be approached by telling it, oh, you're completely wrong, here's the truth. It has to be step by step. You have to deal with it on a limited level. It's called Tam Das. You have to confront it at every step and show it how its view is wrong and that there is the correct view that the natural physical presents. The most challenging aspect in this war, in terms of affecting the Nefesh HaBahamis, is not so much the activity and the interest of Nefesh HaElokis. That the Nefesh HaBahamis can readily understand. It is the submission, the beetle aspect. Beetle aspect means that yes, after all the fact that you are so wise and so smart and you know all that, the real thing is not even yours. The real thing doesn't belong to you altogether. And it's not part of the world. It is not in the world that you're oriented, that you identify with, and you create all kinds of pyramids. It is something which is created from a higher source. And the only way for you to appreciate what is given to you is by recognizing that it's all given to you and it belongs to the giver. And if you belong to the giver, then you will wake up and you'll begin to really appreciate what is given. And if you belong to yourself and you want to take it into your own orientation, your own world, it's not going to be able to function in a proper way, and therefore ultimately it's going to be defeated. And that's what we said, that ultimately after all this stuff, after the war is already waged and all that Chesed and Milchama, the ultimate victory is U'nesoni haba elekecha. It is not the actual waging of the war that brings about the victory and the transformation of Nefesh HaBahamis. It is U'nesoni haba elekecha that Hashem Milmailo renders and brings the submission of Nefesh HaBahamis to the Nefesh HaElokis. It's a super imposition that subdues the Nefesh HaBahamis and brings it to recognize the real significance of the being. Recognizing that the real thing is not even yours and not what you're experiencing, but that belongs to the giver. And you're always in the service of the giver rather than supporting your own interests. Now we go to the next minor. On page Kuf Nun Gimel. It shall be when you will come to the land. Asher Habayla Kecha Netzim L'chol Nachalom, that Hashem is giving to you as an inheritance. This is a promise from Hashem to give you this land. It will be your inheritance forever. V'yirishto, and then you will inherit it. It means that you will take it over. V'yoshavto bo, and you will settle in it. From this pasuk, we need to elaborate on the following question. The Masha Kosu was when he says the words, when you shall come to the land. Mashma, it seems to be implying that this is with one's own capabilities. You come there. It does not say when you will be brought to the land. It says you will come to the land, which means you came with your own facilities. But then afterwards, Asher Hashem Lekecha Neisen L'cho, the land that Hashem is giving to you, so there, the land that you come to, that you orient yourself, is in a manner, in the manner of the Sinam. It is not something that you conquer, that you go in as you go into your own land that already belongs to you when you take it over with your own facilities. But it is Hashem nation. This is the land that Hashem is giving to you. It is not the land that you conquer, it's not that it's being given to you. And as we mentioned already, this is where the struggle is. Very important to recognize the details in this. You come to a land, but the only way you can relate to this land and have the benefit of this land is if you recognize that in Soni Hashem that Hashem gave it to you. And this is the nuances in this post. Furthermore, other questions in the post. Mahu Inyan, what is the meaning? What's in influence? When it says Nation L'cho, V'yirishto, he is giving it to you, V'yirishto, and you will inherit it. V'yirishto comes from Moshe Yerusha. The word Yerusha, as we shall see in Yitzhak. Yerusha, the word Yerusha in Lashon Kodesh has two influences. Yerusha is something which comes to a person effortlessly. The son inherits all of his father's possessions without effort, just by virtue of his relationship to his father. Then there's another influence in the word Yerusha. Yerusha means taking over and driving out all oppositions. Hirosha. So here we have in the pasuk, as Rebbe points out, two contradictory influences. Meisel L'cho V'yirishto, he is giving it to you, and Yerusha, and you will inherit it. So the Rebbe says, V'harei, how do you orient yourself in this pasuk? Harei behold, matona v'Yerusha, matona, a gift which is a nation. Yerusha is inheritance, and Beis in Yod are two very distinct aspects. Inheritance is not a matona. And here it says, Noisen L'cho V'yirishto. We need to understand these two inyanim clearly. That how is it put them together? The two, it's a contradictory correlations. And what is the meaning? Beis inyanim of these two inyanim of Yerusha, Matom and Yerusha, legabe haaretz, in respect to the land.
Excuse me. I just have a quick question. I noticed that we went from page Kuf Nun Bet to Kuf Yud Bet. Did the printer jump from
No, we did not. We did not to Kuf Nun Gimel. Oh, you mean, that? Oh, that's right. Okay. On the side. This is, on the side, this is a correlation to the big print.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. I got it. All right. Sorry to interrupt. Have a good day.
Sure, have a good time.
You see, we have watch, don't skip.
Yeah.
We're not going to let you skip.
No skipping.
So we have to understand the correlationship between two really very different aspects, the Yerusha and Yisina, Matom, and then how this is pertaining to Al Haaretz, to Mahu, Beis Inyanim, Elu, how the these two inyanim pertain to Gabe Haaretz in relation to the land. Gam Tzarich L'Habim. Furthermore, we need to understand Mashakosu, what is meant by what it says in the Pasuk. We are shaftodo, and you will settle in it. Alei hamatom v'hayerusha, since that matom, I mean, say it was given to you, matom, the Yerusha, an inheritance. Both of these experiences, matom and Yerusha, Yigankin l'sheves bo. What is the point of Matom Yerusha? It is a Shabbos. In RASHAB, it is to settle in the general land. The Matom, what is the purpose of this land? To settle it? Or Yerusha is in order to settle it? What is Mahu Eimre Eid? What is the infinite when it says again, furthermore, another thing, we are shafted when you will settle. Once it was given to you, Maton, or once you inherited it, the settling in it is inferred automatically. To have a land without settling it is not having a land. Okay. So all of these inyanim will make it be clear, and not only be clear, it will reveal something that does not meet the eye right away. Obesifri medai, in Sifri, it further infers another nuance. Mashakosu. What is the emphasis of the day? It says in the Pasuk, the Hoya Kisobel Haaretz. The Hoya Kisobel Haaretz. It will be when you come to the land. So the Sifri says, "Ve'oimer." That this is inferring to say, "Asay mitzvah." Do the mitzvah shebischorot tikones. Tichnos, the konis tichnos la'oretz. Do a mitzvah should be scholar tichnos la'oretz, by whose reward you will come to. In other words, Kitzobel Ha'oretz is a result, a reward for that which preceded the mitzvahs that you did before. The Hoyet should be Kitzobel when you come to them. There's a mitzvah before that. That's the influence in this posture. So, thus, we need to understand Mahu HaMitzvah. What is the mitzvah? Should be Schoro Tichnus Ha'oretz. Which is the mitzvah? By whose reward you will come to the mitzvah. In other words, we're asking what is the specific mitzvah? It seems to be inferring that there's a specific mitzvah. Why? So this is the question. Why? But is it not? The sinas ha'oretz, the giving of the land, his char, is the reward. Al kol mitzvahs. Is a reward for all the mitzvahs. Of kloros, the general aspect of mitzvahs, not a specific mitzvah. Of my shakosu with Pasha Seiki. As it says in Pasha Seiki, Ushmartem as mitzvahs, you should guard the mitzvahs. And then you will come, and you will enter, you come, be reached them as oretz, and you will inherit the land. Which means a mitzvah is all the mitzvahs, not a specific mitzvah. V'chein hu kama piyam b'tei. And this is repeated many times in the Torah, that all the mitzvahs are the cause for inheriting the land. In Cain, therefore, Mahu ha-mitzvah. What is the mitzvah that he is referring to? Shebizchoro davko tichnis ha'oretz. But emphatically and specifically and exclusively, Bishchar of this mitzvah, tichnis ha'oretz will come into it. The diak from the Sifri seems to be from the narrow expression of the pasuk Hoya. Hoya is lashon yochid. It shall be, which means one specific activity is what will bring about kisov yalahotz. To understand all of this, yesh lahagdim, it would be huvas lahagdim to reintroduce again Nashon Yisboil Yid, what we have explained before. Sheyesh beis madregis oir, that there are two madregis in oir, oir pnimi v'oir maki. Two madrigas, oil panimi, it's called oil panimi and oil maki. And we also explained, which is just a quick review, the oil panimi means hu sheba b'midol vu. This is the oil that comes and expresses itself and is identifiable b'midol vu with a certain measure and a certain limit. Found it. Which means, we will now review the principle in and in this ayah, there are chilukim madrigas. There are distinct madrigas, different madrigas, be'etzem, in its very essence, in its very the design of the ayah itself. And therefore, that oil comes, which means it is recognized, and its effect is B'chinas Yislapshus in a Yislapshus manner, which means it is imbued, it is involved in the place where it is. It is not aloof, standing from a distance and just having its effect. But actually, it's involved and it is relating to the place where it is. It's Yislapshus. Or B'chinas Yischalkus, and also B'chinas Yischalkus. It has these subdivisions, different aspects, according to the proximity, according to the measure of the world, and the kelim, the receptacles. We will discuss this after we have the full introduction, so because this is, we have to kind of refresh this. This is Oyer Pnim. Oyer Makiv, then there is Oyer Makiv who Oyer Poshu Be'etzem. Oyer Makiv is an Oyer that is Be'etzem, that is Oyer in its own identity, in its essence. Be'etzem means not only the way it is seen by the recipient, but internal to itself, it is possible. All of these things we shall discuss. In this oil, it means possible. Possible means plain, which means there are not identifiable elements. It does not have different madrigas. Just finished the slide. Volozes, and because this is a poshut, it does not have different madrigas. Volozes, for this reason, gam ham shachose be'ilomis. When this oil ultimately is brought down into worlds, ein bo b'chinas yislapshus be'ilomis. It could be in the world, but it's not b'chinas yislapshus. It's not in a manner of being imbued and being related to it. Umeir b'kulam b'shover, and it shines in all the worlds equal. Okay, so let's go back and identify certain specific inferences in here. Number one, Pnimi, you say, yes, we can look at madrigas be'etzem. And Noel Maki does not have chilukim madrigas be'etzem. What is the additional emphasis on the word be'etzem? In simple terms, this means, first of all, let's define the word opening. And the reason we are not defining it is because there are quite different ways that the word pnimi is used. A pnimi could be an internal quality of the oil. An oil that has its own message. just to get a hand on this. Light of day illuminates the entire world and enables you to see every detail of the world. But it says, the light shines on crystal and on dirt in total equality. The light does not become dirty if it shines on dirt. It does not become clear when it shines on crystal. Because these differences that surface as a result when the light shines on dirt and on crystal are not inherent in the light itself. These differences are identified and come to be when the light hits the object. It is not an inherent difference in the light. There's no two aspects in the light that are able to shine on dirt, able to shine on crystal. It's exactly the same light, perfectly, how the whole aspect of light shines on crystal and shines on dirt. There are differences, but these differences are not inherent in the light. These differences are due to the effect to the recipient, how it takes the light, but not the light itself. Then there is what we call opening. Opening means an oil that actually relates to the place and to the recipient that receives it. For example, the oil hanefesh, the neshama. The neshama gives actually both levels of light. The neshama gives chai, what's called chayes kloli, life per se. And the neshama also gives every different koyach. Everything. We have 613 limbs and 613 different aspects of the neshama, and it's lavish in the guf. The organs. The hand receives a different koyach than the foot, or the eye, or the brain, or the heart. The koyach ha'alicha, the koyach of walking, the koyach of hand movement, or the koyach of speech, these are not koyachs that are created by the keli, by the receptor. It's not created by the hand. It's not created by the foot. The hand is a proper receptacle for this koyach, but this koyach is a koyach hanefesh.
Inherently distinct.
Inherently distinct, because a nefesh is called an oil pnimi. Oil pnimi means an oil that, by definition, it has a functional identity. It is not an oil that says, I'm here, the nefesh is here. It says, this aspect of nefesh is here. This means that the person is able to speak, for example. Speech is a good example, but we may lose the influence, because speech is such a phenomenal aspect. But he's able to bang a nail, which is the simplest function of the hand. It is because he has that ability to bang a nail. And when he bangs a nail, he is actually mislavish. He relates to that function. I always point out, you watch a carpenter banging a nail, I mean, an novice can banging a nail. It's a different banging. It's
Why?
a different nail.
Why not just say he has the koyach of moving the hand, and right? So you.
You could say that, and this is exactly what the Rebbe said. No, this is called the koyach pnimi. You cannot banging a nail without focusing on banging a nail, not a moving the hand. So it's a specific function. And this specific function is contained in this initial, original oir hanefesh.
Specific like koyach ksiva. Like it's just not coming out of the power to move. It's a specific light originating in the source. Yeah.
A good example is absolutely.
Okay.
But a good example that brings us to the forefront is art. Art, you'd say, art is just a chush, an appreciation of beauty, appreciation of a form, whatever it is. But art, using artists who can contradict me, it is not just the appreciation. It is an aspect in the hand itself to produce that form. Correct?